Hello, everybody. This is Joshua Hatton with One Nation Under Whiskey. I am joined today and as always by my dear friend, my business partner, my man from Hawaii, the
Hawaii
dear
5-0.
Hawaii 5-0. Book 'em, Dano. Is that what they say? Is that
That was
show?
it. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Maybe. Flawless. I'm getting on my surfboard as you speak.
You're the Silver Surfer, basically. Look at you.
See, now we've jumped franchises. Now we're confusing the audience.
Only the viewers. We're only confusing the viewers who could see you as the Silver Surfer.
We don't have viewers on this one, though, do we?
Yeah,
We're going to go to an audio interview.
No. So, Jason, here is the thing. So, in today's episode with our good friend Pablo Goldbarg,
Yeah, good lad.
Good guy, good friend, dear friend, an old friend. I conducted this video over Zoom. So with this one, it is going to be both an audio and a video podcast. So
La la.
yeah, right. Best of both worlds.
There you go.
Best of both worlds. Right? It's going to be
Is that a real song or is that a Joshua Hatton?
No, that's a Van Hagar song, right?
A Van Hagar?
Yeah, Van Hagar. Not like Hagar the Horrible, but like, Van Halen with Sammy Hagar.
People call that iteration of the band Van Hagar?
Yeah, they do. You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I always thought it was Van Halen with, what's his name, Hagar? Sammy Hagar?
Yeah, Sammy Hagar. Yeah, the one who can't drive 55.
Swear to God, sometimes I understand the words you're saying, but the meaning is completely lost on me. So, okay.
You don't know his song?
For the last 30 seconds, I have no idea what we're saying to each other.
I'm having too much fun. I'm just throwing curveballs at you left and right.
People in the audience who listen to that type of music and get these inside jokes, like I hope you're enjoying it because I have no idea what's happening right now.
You were just growing up on the Proclaimers. Meanwhile, I just had, this nonsense thrown at me growing up.
I would walk 500 miles to get away from this conversation. Ay, caramba. Okay, so Pablo, why did you speak to Pablo for this episode? The listeners may be asking, and maybe the viewers too.
Well, think about our original remit some 9 seasons ago. Well, I mean, our first season, right? What did we say we wanted to do?
Interview independent bottlers.
Right, interview independent bottlers. And you can't do that for 9 seasons, can you?
Although the new independent bottlers coming online every day beg to differ.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's just getting harder and harder to be a new independent bottler these days.
There might be more independent bottlers we haven't interviewed than independent bottlers we have.
That's a very good point. A very, very good point.
There may be independent bottlers coming online today who we have not interviewed.
But yeah, Pablo's been a friend of mine for 10 plus years, and I know you've known him for a good portion of that yourself.
Yeah, without ever meeting him, actually. That was our first ever in-person meeting when he was at the Edinburgh Independent Bottlers Festival in March of this year.
Yep, that is correct. And
first time.
I knew him initially through a number of events. He's a Massachusetts guy, Argentinian expat living in Massachusetts. And, I think his story is not too dissimilar from yours and mine and Sam Simmons and a number of people who fell in love with liquid, who fell in love with history, and said, is there a place for me within the whiskey industry?
Mm-hmm,
right. Sure. and so I met him as a whiskey lover, and then he moved on to as a whiskey specialist within Gordon's Fine Wine, a wonderful shop in
Hmm.
Massachusetts.
Hmm.
And then he decided to try his hand as an independent bottler. And I mean, listeners and viewers will hear and see this, but he's zigging where people are zagging, or vice versa, and said, everybody's bottling Scotch whiskey. Why don't I not bottle Scotch whiskey?
Yeah, that's a fair question.
Right? And bottle world whiskey, right? There's single malt from Germany, there's single malt from Austria, there's single malt from Argentina, there's rye
Yeah.
whiskey from this country and that country, and so many people don't know about it. And I think about what our journey has been like for the past 14 going on 15 and counting years, and it's been pushing water uphill ever since. And I just think of what his journey, which has only just started, a year and a half ago or so, what his
That's early
journey
doors.
is. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No. And he's written a book as well. What, a Spanish language whiskey book, and single cask nations in there, which is very kind. I had the great honor of signing on the single cask nation page when I saw him in Leith. Yeah. There you go. You want to
Yeah,
give us
here
the
it is.
title in Spanish and not leave it to the Scotsman to read that?
Yeah. So for our viewers here, you can see it here on screen, and for our listeners, I'm going to slaughter this, and I deeply, deeply apologize.
Godspeed.
Firstly to Pablo, and then to the entire Spanish-speaking world out there. Catador Itinerante.
Oh.
Supuestamente entendiendo al whisky. There you go. I think I nailed it. Jason, are you there? I think I may have killed him. I think I killed Jason.
Oh my God, that was horrific.
Oh, here. This is what the book is about. You ready?
When Frankenstein learned Spanish.
This is a good point about the book. It says, "Es el primer libro de la trilogía del Catador." It's a trilogy. Y cubre los 5 dos dominios del whisky. And it goes on, right? I mean,
But let us take a moment here to sincerely apologize to the entire Spanish-speaking world. I think you may have set a language back decades. That was
decades, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
You could have sung that pitch perfect, and still Spaniards would absolutely hate your guts.
Absolutely
Wow.
hated my guts, right? They would have started the Inquisition all over again, and rightly so. And rightly so. I would have kicked it off.
I look forward to our future forays into the Spanish-speaking world, and we will continue to apologize in person for what just happened on the podcast. God, I really wish Pablo had said the name of his book in the interview, and then we could just dub that over what just happened a moment ago.
Yeah, I think he did. I think in the end, he did finally correct me, or he may have.
He corrected you? What was not right?
I think he actually gave me plenty of noose to hang myself. He's good like that.
Just like I've just done.
Right, exactly.
Oh gosh. All right, that's probably the perfect place to hand this off to the man himself. Would you agree, Joshua?
Let's hand it off to Pablo Goldbarg.
I was waiting on a perfect C.
Oui. Pablo Goldbarg, thank you so much for joining the podcast, joining One Nation Under Whiskey. I told myself that I would practice all of the Spanish before we started this so that we can conduct the entire podcast en español. But then I realized most of our listeners probably don't speak Spanish or don't speak it fluently, I should say. So I
Yes,
decided
yes.
to just stay lazy and not learn the entire language.
I did the same with English, and it didn't work, so we'll have to be in Spanish on my end.
Yeah, well, we have the real-time translator, so I think everything should be fine for
Yes, we are
everybody.
in the future already.
No, seriously, thank you so much for joining. For our listeners and for our viewers out there, Pablo is a gentleman that I've known. Well, shit, how long have we known each other now?
Probably 10 years.
Yeah, probably 10 years. We met through Bikram Singh, through Norfolk Wine and Spirits. That's where we met first, yes?
In one of those stores that
Yeah.
you used to frequent.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I knew you first as a whiskey enthusiast, as just someone who is fascinated by whiskey. And I had the luxury of pouring you many whiskeys, making you very happy with whiskey. And we're here today talking about your own brand, your own independent bottling brand, Catador Itinerante. Terrible with
Perfect.
pronunciations. Oh, oof.
You did it. You did it. I created that name so people suffer a little bit, right? What could go wrong? Especially when I'm talking to a company and they tell me, can you please spell your website?" And I'm like, here we go.
Could you? So for our listeners, I mean, I want to talk about. Actually, what I'd like for you to do is if you could tell us a little bit about your independent bottling company, and then let's talk about your spark, how you went from enthusiast into, well, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should take this leap of faith and go crazy and start an independent bottling company.
You know, that was a fantasy for a while, and it probably started with people like you, like David Blackmore. I used to attend tastings, and I went like from slightly drinker to collector, and I got more and more interested
Mhm,
in the stories behind the whiskey. And I see
mhm,
these guys presenting and having fun and joking and
mhm,
drinking
mhm,
and traveling, and I'm like, that's a perfect job. And obviously, I didn't know all the other
mhm,
things that I'm learning now. That nothing is perfect when you work in the whiskey industry, but really, I think that the people of whiskey play a big role
mhm,
in me feeling that I could be one of you guys.
mhm.
And at the same time, when I got more and more into whiskey, I discovered independent bottlers. Uh, I discovered then World Wiskies. Like I remember the first time, few times that I try Cavalan, that I try
Oh yeah,
Ambrut,
yeah.
and I'm like, well, this is the next level. Um, Signatory and Gordon and MacPhail, all Cadenhead, everything we know from the historic perspective.
Mhm,
So then I'm like, I think I'm ready to start little by little developing my company.
hmm,
But my company started way before. Um, so we can talk about the independent bottler, but there's a lot behind it that before it becomes an independent bottler.
okay. So, because I know you had a podcast or you had a blog
Correct.
as well, all in Spanish, correct?
Yes, exactly. So that was kind of the origin, and
Okay.
I remember talking to Nick Taylor, and
Yeah, of Found North.
before they even become.
Oh, Gordon of Gordon's Fine Wine
Yes.
in Massachusetts. Yeah, yeah.
So and then I worked with Gordon's, and Nick was already working with his project, and they and I think it was around 2018 that I communicated this idea of becoming a bottler, and he's like, uh, "Why don't you start blogging?" and you were a blogger too,
Yeah.
so um, they found their north. I'm still searching. My compass works. No spoilers, but if you've seen The Eternaut, and if you didn't watch it, you have to watch it. It's a series from Argentina that is now on Netflix. But I'm not gonna say anything. It's just that my compass right now is kind of working like the compasses in the series. Uh, but I'm gonna leave it out there. But
Okay.
yeah, so I started with the blog, and I decided to do it in Spanish because there wasn't a lot of content in Spanish about whiskey, except
Mhm.
Todo Whiskey that from Spain that I ended up meeting Emma in person. But years later, and she was in my podcast too. She was probably one of the first, and the the blog was like I need to write about whiskey, and little by little developing the company, and the
Mhm.
need turned into a need to talk about whiskey, and that was right in the
Mhm.
pandemic. So
Mhm.
I started a
Mm.
podcast also in Spanish,
Okay.
and the when I was little, I loved radio, so I used to listen to these shows, midnight shows, with my headphones in bed, everything dark, and I didn't understand anything that the host was talking. It was probably mature content or intellectual content that it was not up to me understanding that, but I used to just listen to the sound and grab a Sharpie and smoke. And so, I always love radio, like, and I think honestly, it's also like easier to not have to edit, to not have to prepare the image, the settings. So I started just making radio about whiskey during the
Okay.
pandemic,
Yeah.
and and after that, I pushed more and more and more for my bottling
Okay.
idea,
Yeah.
and I did a lot of research about world whiskey. I always knew I wanted to exclusively bottle world whiskey.
World whiskey, not including Scotch whiskey.
Correct. Let's say Scotland is a planet, and there's another
Okay.
planet called planet Earth, and then I would bottle from this planet. But in general, yes. Uh, I
Does that also mean not American whiskey as well?
American, I would consider.
You'd
Irish
consider.
too. No,
Okay.
I don't want to take whiskey history out of from Ireland. It's a
Okay.
big who started,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
considering the size of and now it's up and coming, and more distilleries you can say in Ireland.
Mhm.
But uh, yeah, I would love to bottle from every country. I know that Scotland is not a priority. There's just a
Okay.
lot of great whiskey bottle from Scotland, and
Mhm.
my main idea was trying to find those hidden gems around the world.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, sounds like you wanted to zig while other people were zagging.
With the pros and cons. And one,
So
one of the things that I remember a conversation with Nick Taylor, again, bringing him,
Mhm.
and he said, you're going to find a lot of whiskey that you're not going to love.
Mm.
It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of new distilleries around the world, but
Mhm.
you're going to have to hit those jackpots. And I always thought that could be my biggest challenge, and I found a couple of great whiskeys. I think that now the biggest challenge is another one.
I want to make sure I'm understanding that comment correctly. So Nick is saying your challenge is going to be finding good whiskeys, and I understand that comment.
Finding great
Okay, yeah,
whiskey
sorry,
that
yeah,
people
yeah,
will love, and they will not care from which country is coming. And
yeah,
in that path,
yeah,
I may
yeah,
have to travel, I may have to
right,
spend money, I may have to
yeah,
visit them in person. It's not that if I find a website from a country, there's a new distillery, and I receive samples, and I'm ready to bottle.
yeah,
There's much more availability to choose probably in Scotland, and we know pretty well most of the distilleries that we love.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. And so I wonder what's more difficult. Is it finding that great whiskey and bottling it, and then finding the next great whiskey and bottling it? Or is it finding those great whiskeys and then telling that story to the consumer who's likely not heard of these distilleries,
mhm.
right? There's two very different tasks, very different difficult tasks,
Yes, and
right?
as you mentioned, keep the momentum and creating this series now. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump for 1 second to this
Mm,
amazing documentary that we were part of in Scotland in March,
mhm,
Independent Spirits, and I tell in that documentary. Uh, I don't remember precisely which scenes were used, but part of the interviews that I had with the filmmakers and Greg and his crew were I'm talking about this art gallery that I feel like I'm like a
mm,
gallery owner,
mm,
and the whiskeys that I'm finding are these pieces of art that I want to feature in my gallery as a tribute to the artists, like the whiskey makers.
mhm,
And I think that everything takes a new meaning
mm,
when this kind of transparent thread that goes through the whiskeys
mm,
that I may choose um, will create this collection, and then you see more than one piece of art in the wall of the gallery, and
yeah,
then it takes a new meaning. It's like a window to the world for me.
yeah,
So I totally agree that finding the next one and finding the next one is also a challenge. Uh, but when you talk about telling the story, I feel very confident because I'm always trying to put quality into it. Like my podcast, for example, beyond my mother and my sister and a few more, I don't know how many are listening. But at least when I finish the episodes with the guests, they are like, "This is art. This is beautiful." And I'm like,
yeah,
eh, I'm I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna tell you that that's all I want.
mm,
Obviously, you want exposure,
mm,
but I think you always have to put the best you can into creating this.
yeah,
And I feel confident when I tell the stories of these whiskeys,
yeah,
and I know I can tell a good story. And because in this search of great hidden gems out there, I'm
mm,
finding not only a lot of meaning, but also surprises, like
mm,
people, and surprises from the point of view of when I started. I One of my preconcepts were all these guys, their biggest dream is that in a blind tasting somebody says, "Oh, I thought this was Scotch." And it's not
uh-huh,
like that.
yeah,
It's not like that. And uh, they have they have their own culture, their own heritage,
mhm,
their own methods. Many of these distillers, they started. They have a background of grandparents distilling different type of spirits,
hmm,
uh, and they and some of them they don't have. a lot of resources. Like, I'm going to give you an example of the first whiskey. Is this Brogger, 13-year-old. Brogger is a family in Austria, and you have it.
I've got the 10-year-old.
You have the
right
10
now.
edition
Yes.
too,
Yeah.
and
Right.
the first two editions are from the same distillery.
Yeah.
And I got this family that when I discovered through finding just websites and creating a big Excel spreadsheet,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
a lot of people were not replying my emails. A lot of emails were bouncing back. Some of those websites, they look like websites from the 80s, like that very low tech with a counter of how many visits.
Oh my gosh.
And
That's
our
funny.
current edition is blah 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 from 10 years ago. I'm like, oh, if that's the current edition, maybe they're closed. So it was a lot of back and forth until
Mhm.
I decided to travel. And
Mm.
it was an excuse. And I turned 50 in 2022, and I have 2 weeks to celebrate my birthday in Europe. And I prepared all these meetings with distilleries, and
Mm.
I was lucky that in the week of my birthday, we had in one weekend Whisky Live Paris, and the next weekend the Whisky Show from London.
Mm. Mhm.
So I'm like, in 10 days, I can kill distillery visits, my birthday celebration, and two festivals.
Yeah.
And it was funny that I met some of the distillers that or ambassadors, but there was a lot of distillers there that I would tell them the idea of my bottler, and they would be like, "Sounds amazing. We would love to." And I'm like, "Why you didn't reply my email?" And they are like, "What do you mean? I mean, I don't know. We don't check emails." Okay. I'm glad I'm here because
Yeah. Yep.
I wanted to try it at least to test the waters.
Mhm.
And this Broger family tells me, "We would love to receive you. It's gonna have to be at night because during the day we have our 9 to 5s." And I'm like, "Oh, they are going to be pretty small."
Yeah.
And they were.
Yeah.
The distillery looked like a living room, and the whiskey was amazing. And
Wow.
when I met them, for example, one of the master distillers, Bruno Broger, he was proud of his Burnt Out. That was the name of one of his core range, Burnt Out. And when I tried it, it was like I don't know, trying an old port, but
Wow.
matured in a car tire. It was like, oh, this is not gonna be easy to sell. And they are proud, and they sell it probably in Austria, probably in Germany, probably around
Mm.
it. They are not desperate to come to the US. I still
Mm.
wanted to tell them, I would love people to know you in the US and to be featured. And I ended up finding two whiskeys that I loved, and I ended up both my first two editions.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the story piece that you mentioned, I think. Yes, I think I can do it. Still, people, if they don't try it,
Yeah.
they are not sure. And also, when we talked about this before, when they compare prices, some of these casks are not cheap, and their production is small. Broger, for example, sold me one of their oldest casks, and when yeah, when a consumer compares for a similar price an older Scotch from a distillery they love,
Mhm.
it's going to be hard.
Well, yeah, and it's difficult sometimes, I think, for the consumer to understand that you have a small producer like Broger, family owned, just a few people operating the stills, the mash tun, whatever it is to produce their whiskeys. They don't have the luxury of automation.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the luxury of giant contracts to produce, or giant contracts to purchase grain at a really low price, to purchase
Exactly.
glass at a really low, all of these benefits to bring their costs down, to rock bottom, you're not comparing apples to apples. It's apples, not even apples to oranges likely. It's apples to, loaves of German sprouted rye bread. It's very different things. So I,
Yeah.
I imagine, is that a is that one of the difficulties you have in trying to communicate to consumers?
People will. I think that people more and more appreciate the story and
Mm,
more appreciate the effort from small a small bottler like me, a small
mm,
producer, um, the exploration of something new,
mm,
even the branding behind my bottle is from very small design studio that I love. And these guys, to give you an idea, these are two young guys from Mendoza in Argentina, wine country,
okay.
and I call them the stranger and stranger of Latin America because they are so creative. And these are two very young guys that they make these beautiful bottles. They
I
design
love it.
they design every stamp individually according to what I'm gonna be bottling, and uh, they they uh, again, I'm supporting also a small company
Mhm,
through every bottle I sell.
mhm,
So I think that people are more and more excited about this, finding something different, trying something different, and
mhm.
supporting a small brand. On the other hand, at the end of the day, the liquid talks,
Correct.
and maybe a friend will be like, "Yeah, sure, I buy you one of each." You want to aim at somebody that doesn't know you to say, "I really love this," and I have some of those um, great feel good moments. I've been in tastings where people don't know me,
Mhm,
and they are like, I try a lot of things today, and this was my favorite.
mm,
And yeah, it makes my day. Um, Somebody comes and tells me, you are doing there's the easy way and there's the right way. You are doing the right way, and yes, those things make you feel good.
yeah,
But then, I think that the biggest challenge right now is to. So the first challenge was to find these whiskeys, and I think I'm doing relatively well. The second challenge is now people to find me,
correct.
and I
Yes.
think that is a challenge. You have Instagram is like it's an ocean, and you have TikTok that I try and then I disappeared in minutes. I didn't. I hated it.
Mhm,
And then you have, yes, every state in the country has different laws and different fees. It's not that you
mhm,
just call like, 3 stores per state and they tell you ship the whiskey. And then you have, of course, the market, right? Uh, Stores telling you, right now we have too much in the shelf, or we are not buying for the next month. Uh, Whatever happens in the market, you are part of it.
correct. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to the uphill battle.
Welcome to adulthood.
So I've got two bottles with me right now. I have your Schlier's edition number 4 and your Broger edition number 2. And I'd like to, if you don't mind, I'd love to taste through both of these. And not only do I want to taste through both of these and get, and sort of go over some of the notes, but I'd love to talk about your selection process, both
Hmm.
from a how you select that, but also how you start these conversations. Now, I know you talked about it a bit before. You send off an email, and then you never get the response, and then you finally go to visit them. But I wonder if you can maybe share some stories from these initial conversations and maybe how you progressed with some of these people here. So, My question for you is which one do we start with, the Schliers or the Broger?
Yes, I would go with the German whiskey,
Yeah, I
and
remember this being floral.
and it's a little a little less it's not that it's less complex. It's more approachable in the beginning.
Okay.
The other one, it's a little bit of. I'm gonna steal words from one of your Kilhoman tastings. The other one, it's a little bit like a wild monkey. I don't know if you're gonna remember which Kilhoman is the one that you once told me this is a wild monkey. It's one of your favorites of all time. Let's see.
Oh, it's probably it's got to be the. Is it
Yes.
the Kilhoman Sauterne cask?
Yes.
Yes, the funky monkey, the
funky
wild monkey. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I remember. So we did the tasting. It was at Norfolk Wine and Spirits, and you had editions 1 through 4, and there was 2 Schliers and 2 Brogers.
Correct.
And I ended up, I think I got 2 bottles of each of 2 and 4. One set for me, one set for Jason, and I sent him off his set. And by the way, I need to get another set because you were so kind to viewers can see this, listeners can't. You were so kind to sign these, and so that's why I haven't opened these because they were signed, and now I need to buy another. See, this is how you get Pablo. This is how you get people to buy more of your whiskeys. Just sign the bottles.
So you mean you have hope that will have a little more value in the future?
Yeah, well, I've hoped that you still have some left. I mean, there's a chance you may have sold out by now.
I have.
So this one is so Schlier's distilled June 2015, bottled in January of 25, 55.9% alcohol, and you've bottled in 375 milliliter bottles rather than 750s. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yes, and it's a hot topic. But I can tell you that going back to telling the story and convincing people, and I have some people telling me why I want to see this in big. And, when I, going back to the process of selecting, and obviously some calculations involved, a lot of the same that you said about this small distillery is applied to a small bottler. So I can buy certain amount of glass, certain amount of labels. Once I factor all the costs, I realized that my first few whiskeys would have been probably close to $150 for a bottle. And I'm like, I was really concerned. Not that I didn't believe in my product. I wanted people to explore. And, more than one time it happened to me that I've seen some other whiskeys that I love. And I'm like, I wish I can buy 1 bottle of each. But I would like to have half a bottle of each. And so I don't have to spend so much. So I started fantasizing with that idea, plus a little concern about a high price for a 10-year-old Austrian compared to a 16-year-old Scotch.
Yeah.
And I ended up saying, at least in the first few years, I think that it makes sense for me to have 375s, to go to a tasting with 2, 4 bottles, 5, 6 expressions, and people can create their own flights.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you also that Schlier's is not a small company. It's the biggest selling whiskey in Germany, and it's one of the few distilleries, probably from more than 200, because Germany has more distilleries than Scotland. But it's one of the few that they do only whiskey. And because there's a lot of, schnapps, aquavit, you name it.
Yep, sure.
So these guys are purely into whiskey, has been around for almost 20 years. and it's a beautiful big distillery with a nice tour, much bigger than Brogger. And the reason I continue with them after Brogger was because I want people to kind of ride a wave, but not being always on top of the wave. That if you fall with your surf, you can die. So after the two complex, unusual, crazy Broggers, I wanted to go for something more subtle, more delicate, that you would feel you want to drink it if in a different moment of the day or a different season or a different mood.
For breakfast, got it.
I usually drink whiskey with movies, so it's more genre oriented, comedy or drama.
This one is, I think you nailed it. It's softer. It's because I remember the Broger, and I'm really excited to open this and taste it. But this one it's soft. There's a floral component to it, but there's this delicate kind of apple note, and on the finish, I was getting this like dried pineapple ring note, and then I looked at the label, and I was reminded it's finished in a Pinot de Charente cask, which is perfect because I always get sort of this pineapple forward note in Pinot de Charente wine. Well, it's not a wine, but it's like fortified wine,
correct.
right? Yeah. And so what is your process for saying, not just for saying yes to a cask, but for getting to that yes? How do you select your casks?
So I always remember that in that pandemic where I started with the podcast, I did a few YouTube episodes in bilingual in English and Spanish with a panel. You were part of it. David Blackmore was part of it. And we ask you, what's your process with Incas Nation? And in just a few words summarizing, you said the samples, I have to like them first with my nose, then in the palate. And if it's a no in one of them, it's mostly I discard them. If I like both, then you start the process of probably ranking or selecting. I try to do the same in the beginning, like first approach. Once I have the contacts with the distilleries, and I know I try some of their other whiskeys and I like them, I get the samples. Some of them I could try in the distillery. Some of them I try other things in the distillery, and then in the US, I told them, can you send me a list of the samples that you have available? And it's a little bit of a guessing when you see the finishes, the age, the ABV. You see all those parameters, and obviously price plays a role. But then from that selection, once I got the samples at home,
yes,
what do I think? I try to talk to the distillers. What do they like and why? What do I like in terms of what you do with your own process, like nose and palate, and what type of woods they use that are different. The first 4 editions, the Broggers are Madeira finish, Oloroso full maturation, and then these 2 Schliers are Sauterne finish and the Pinot de Charente finish. And actually, these 2 Schliers, obviously, they have their distinctive Schlier signature that is clean and floral, but also, if I have to put it in my own words, one of them is green apples with honey. The other one is like red apples with caramel. I don't. I get similar notes, but the 2-year-old, 2 years older, the Pinot de Charente, and the Pinot influence that is sweeter than a Sauterne by itself, brings other other complexities and other notes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, you know this about me, and I think our listeners slash viewers know this too, because I typically don't shut up about it when it comes to casks. Is Sauterne casks, aside from bourbon casks, tend to be my favorite. But this Pinot de Charente, for whatever reason, and maybe it was just the day, maybe it was mood, but I just found that for my palate, it really, all the pieces fit perfectly. And and I knew, I said, I'm gonna go home with whatever my favorites were. And I'm gonna get at least two. And I loved that you had, right, two from each distillery. And I went home with the Pinot de Charente one. And it's so nice to return to it, to be reminded of why I said yes to this whiskey, because I think from the nose to palate, the story remains the same. The nose tells you exactly what the palate is going to do,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no deviation there. And then the finish has that lovely sort of pineapple note, but then it gets nice and crisp and dry, and it just leaves you wanting more. And I
Sounds
really like
amazing.
that. Yeah, I really like that about this whiskey. So,
And one note on the edition 3, the other Schliers, the Sauterne, it's something interesting happened to me when I tried it. Um, First of all, uh, I love the nose more than anything,
hmm.
and I'm big into sandalwood fragrances. And
Yeah.
this one brought a little bit of sandal plus the the fruity part,
Hmm.
and I kept on nosing it, and I'm like, I will use it in my wrist, and not that I would be licking my wrist, but it's it's very it made me happy that
Hmm.
fragrance. And the other interesting thing that happened to me when I tried it is that the finish was a tiny bit sour.
Hmm.
So there was a little edge of probably tannins or something that maybe one more year in the cask would have been a mistake.
Yeah.
And that I try a few drops of water. And
Hmm.
talking about preconcepts that we had from the past, I always imagine I would only put drops of water to those cask strength whiskeys, or those that are, you know, they burn you and then you bring the burn down.
Yeah.
And that thing about the whiskeys opening up with some drops, when I started with whiskey, I didn't buy it completely.
Hmm.
I thought I would be destroying the whiskey.
Hmm.
And as you mature more, and as you try more whiskeys in your life, uh, it doesn't necessarily have to be an old whiskey or a very high alcohol. I try a few drops with this Sauterne, and it kind of remove that tiny edge of sourness, which is
Hmm.
not bad, because I,
Hmm.
I, I play with words in the label that it's a sour patch candy is like a
Oh,
childish
yeah.
grown up,
Yeah.
which is cool. But yes, they have their different size of Schliers in those two.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh, see, that's when you said sour, that's where I was going with, was the idea of a Sour Patch Kid, right? The sweetness of the
Yeah.
Sauterne. And I like finding sour notes sometimes, right? And when you throw notes out there, like a sourness, or I did a tasting last week, and someone had said to me, is it strange that I'm getting notes of cow manure? And I had said, well,
Was it a mezcal?
it was oh shit, what was it? It was a peated whiskey. I forget what whiskey it was. No, it was a sherried whiskey, and they were smoking a cigar. That's what it was, right? And once you're smoking a cigar, right, all bets are off, right?
Yeah.
But like when you have a peated whiskey, or if you've got a mezcal, manure as a part and parcel could be an amazing note. Right? You're driving through farm country,
Yeah.
and you have that smell in the distance, and it, the experience isn't necessarily about the smell, it's about the experience,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And sometimes that little sourness could bring you to a time in your life. And if it's just part of that overall flavor profile, then it's okay. And that's sometimes a difficult thing to communicate to people. And so when he said that, I said, well, are you only getting manure? He said, no,
Yes,
no, no.
exactly.
Yeah, it's full on cow shit. No, no, no. It's I'm getting that, but I'm getting chocolate and I'm getting this and I'm getting that. I said, oh, so you like it? He said, no, I love it. And I said, fantastic. Why are we even having this conversation then? Yeah,
You know that I was also told about one of the bloggers that it was going to a Haymarket. Uh,
yeah,
with I thought it was lovely.
yeah.
Uh, it's different, but
Yeah.
it's there.
Well, with that in mind, I'm going to open this up. This is the 10-year, and this is all 10 years in Oloroso Sherry.
Correct.
And it's medium. I'm going to read the label here for the listeners / viewers here. Medium smoked malted barley, and I'm not going to read the ABV right now. Or should I? What should I do? Should I read it, or should we wait?
You could tell that it's hazmat or not
It
necessarily.
is hazmat. Okay, yeah. I mean, you let the cat out of the bag. This is hazmat. But that's one of the things that surprised me is that, or maybe didn't surprise me, right? I mean, this is one of the things that I say quite often in tastings. People get surprised when they see a higher alcohol content and they say, "Oh, but I'm not getting a burn."
Mm-hmm.
And I say, "Well, quite often when you have really high ABV, with that alcohol comes all the oils to protect you from the strength from that alcohol. So the right they're like it comes along with it to protect you. Oh, so let's talk about this. So we've got medium smoke. It doesn't say peated. It says medium smoked.
So this is uh, barley from one of the biggest barley producers in Germany, in Bavaria, called Weyermann.
Mhm.
And by coincidence, is the same barley producer that they use in Schliers. And that in Schliers they can say local barley because it's from Bavaria. Uh, but this one is smoked dry with beechwood smoke.
Oh wow, beechwood.
So it's not peat. It's a different type of smoke.
Is there a reason they're using beechwood? That
I
you're
don't know
aware of?
why, if it's that type of wood and not other wood, but they are using this wood because they like how it
Oh,
smells and
okay.
how it tastes, and it's a company that also uh, provides barley to a lot of breweries.
Mm.
I never tried, but I think I was told that they are like German beers that are smoked.
Mm. Mm. It's luscious. There's oh, that's so interesting. So it's got great oils to it. The smoke almost presents like this is going to sound strange, but the smoke almost comes across like fresh pine. It's like a piney kind of thing, almost like a Christmas wreath. Says the one Jewish man to another Jewish man. Right? It comes across like a
we
piney.
only know the gifts, right?
We know the gifts, yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. All right, one more sip here.
And while you try it, I want to also tell the audience, if you go to my website, the notes that I put in the whiskey section are notes from the consumers, from the people that tried it, not from my own notes. I play with some words in the labels, but in general, the notes that I put in the website are like what people tells me.
Oh, this is like there's cinnamon and wasa. Do you know wasa crackers?
Yes.
Yeah, cinnamon wasa crackers, but then there's the Oloroso nuttiness is happening in there. There's a spice coming through. Wow. This is so.
In that one, I got one of the craziest notes. If you check the website, people talk about licorice, fenugreek. Somebody, I think it says swimming pool. I don't know if I put it there.
Oh, I could see that. Like a fresh swimming pool. Yeah, that's a note Jason and I get.
But also like that the smoke comes also like kind of chocolate more than barbecue.
It's not smoky. It's not, people think of smoky whiskeys or peaty whiskeys. Obviously, again, this is not peated, but they would think that it is smoky. This is not coming across smoky. I agree, chocolate. I agree, a little black licorice. But it's piney. It's foody. It's kind of autumnal. It's not smoky in any way.
The way that they distill is also very particular. They, given the fact that they have a small distillery, they use double distillation, but in one still only. They do different batches, empty and put the heart back. And another interesting fact about Broger is that they use 3 types of woods: Virgin Limousin French oak, Oloroso sherry, and Madeira. And in the 2 whiskeys that I have there, you can see the 3 woods, because this one is fully matured in Oloroso, and edition 1 is Virgin Limousin plus Madeira. And and they don't reuse the casks, and that's another luxury. Like, considering their small company and small budget, it doesn't make sense in terms of the economy for the company. But they say that because their distillate is so heavy, it would affect the wood. If they want to reuse the wood, it wouldn't be just purely the type of wood that they want to use. It would be the wood influenced by their own whiskey. Schliers, on the other hand, there is some second fill, but it's not a second fill bourbon. It's a virgin oak, and then virgin oak plus their distillate. And when they say second fill, is second fill Schliers. So it's virgin.
Okay.
So they are using for the second time a cask that used to be virgin and then carried Schliers.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So whatever influence they have in the cask is just their own whiskey, the kind of the base of their own whiskey, which is clean.
I think that's right. This is another point to press back to what you were saying before, where how they produce cannot be compared to how the big players in Scotland produce. Pablo, these are really fantastic whiskeys. It's nice to be reminded why I said yes and opened my wallet to these. I didn't buy them just because you're a friend. You are a friend. Of course, I want to support you and will always support you. But I made clear decisions on why I chose these two, and they fit right within my palate. And
Thank you so much.
71.6% on the Broger, and it doesn't drink that way. It just doesn't. Man, so all right. So with all of this said, what does the next 5 years look like for you? What's in store?
Well, first I would like to use the real name of the company that I wanted. It's not Catador Itinerante. It's Single Cask Nations with a with a final S.
Oh, Single Cask Nations.
Yeah, it's World Wiskies. You have been always inspiration. And actually, before I talk about the future, I have a funny story I want to share.
Okay.
So it was probably 2021. You're going to be so proud of this. It was 2021, and I was creating this company. I already had my filing for the copyright, not copyright, the USPTO office.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, doing the research, talking to companies, and at the same time, I was almost turning 50, so I was working out. You cannot turn 50 without a six-pack, right? So I was working out, and once I buy this underwear, and it comes in a box with a guy ripped in the picture, and I put it in my closet, right? And my wife comes once and is like, what is that box still doing there? And I'm like, it's inspiration. And she's like, you want inspiration? You should print a picture of your friend Josh. And I'm like, actually, it's not a bad idea. So I was pretty close to printing a picture where you are, with the kilt holding the quay. And I'm like, it's gonna be so weird to go to the closet and see Josh with a kilt and a guy with underwear. And I didn't do it. But the interesting part is that I became a bottler without your picture. Now, on the other hand, I have this guy in underwear, and I don't have a six-pack, so I may have to throw the box. It doesn't work. Don't do this at home. Don't put that picture in the fridge, in your closet.
To be fair, I know the picture you're talking about, and it looks like I definitely didn't have a six-pack. It looks as if I had drunk many 30 packs.
Probably you did, because all I hear about the becoming keeper of the quay is that in that ceremony there's great whiskey too.
It's a time. It's a time to be had. There's no doubt about it. That's really it's really an honor to hear that. I can't believe my name came out of your wife's mouth. There you
in
go.
The closet. In the closet. Now, talking about the future. So
yeah.
Before I think about the 5 years, right now, and I don't want to open another long topic, but I'm dealing with tariffs. So, it's kind of tough right now because I have been for a few months dealing with logistic issues.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the whole craziness in the market is impacting logistics, but so far I need to get my next whiskey, and I'm very excited about next whiskey because without giving a name, the week that I saw you in Scotland for Independent Spirits, I was in Netherlands. And again, without giving a name, there's a famous distillery there, and they make beautiful rye. I'm not going to say anything else. So that's the near...
nudge, nudge. Say no more.
That's the near future. And I think that obviously we're talking here about the bottler, and you mentioned that I have a podcast, I have a book. Actually, the book is behind me. And Oh, you also have it.
I have it as
Amazing.
well. Look at that.
So these, the same guys that make the bottles, the branding, these two young, amazing designers from Giacomi, Maine, they also designed this cover, and I don't see myself as a bottler who is also a writer and also has a podcast. I don't see myself as a writer who has a whiskey business. I think that the three parts of who I am right now feed each other creatively. I mentioned before that I see whiskey as an art, and this book that I have for now in Spanish, and I may translate it. It's part of a trilogy. This book is called Supposedly Understanding Whiskey.
Supposedly understanding whiskey.
Supposedly,
I
and
love it.
and first of all, because I'm no guru,
Yeah.
and I think that the whiskey sphere can be attacked from different angles.
Yeah.
You can explore whiskey just vertical and know more about a distillery than
Yeah.
anybody else in the world, or you can know a little bit of everything. But also because when I wrote the book, one of my goals was to write it in an entertaining way and funny. I remember telling David Blackmore, a good friend, I'm writing a book and it's going to be funny. And he was like, yes, we need that. And also I think the world needed a whiskey book originally written in Spanish. And so the book will be part of a trilogy. So the second book will be called Supposedly Traveling for Whiskey, and the third one supposedly Talking about Whiskey. And in those three books, I'll talk about what I consider 5 elements of whiskey, which are science, art, people, stories, and places. And each book will attack some of those. So I want to continue writing, and my podcast, it's not produced as often as in the pandemic. I have less time now, and producing a podcast, it takes effort. But also bottling obviously has taken a priority, and I want to continue growing this collection of this window to the world.
Yeah.
So I in the future, I want to continue bringing 2 editions at a time from each distillery that I like and I visit, and I think it's I want it to be part of the collection. It's a good, logistically it works. It helps to bring, 2 casks in one pallet from one place, but also I think that today most of the distilleries that we know can produce 2 different styles. So it's also a good way to do like a deep dive into one distillery. And for now, I'm going to continue with 375s. I'm exploring move to 700s or 750s at some point.
Okay.
And also I have a bunch of samples, contacts with new distilleries. I'm kind of Europe-centric for now. There's a lot of great distilleries in Europe with a short distance, within a short distance. So you can, if you travel, you can visit 3, 4, 5 distilleries from different countries in less than a week. But also I would like to expand to Asia. We all know good whiskeys in India, Israel, Taiwan, Korea. It's growing. And I have my heart in Argentina. There's a couple of great distilleries. I visited Alasana in Patagonia. It's fantastic. And, hopefully they consider me. It's I'm like a free ambassador for them.
Yeah, exactly. If they say no to an Argentinian independent bottler,
In the US.
Something's wrong. In the US, something is wrong. I will give them shit.
But you have mentioned also from other countries that you
Yeah.
have seen me
Yeah.
presenting PowerPoints from distillery,
Yeah,
right?
and this is a very good point. When I went to your tasting, it was a different experience because
Do I have time to drink?
we've got a little time to drink.
Okay, look what I have.
Oh shit! Look at that. You've got a little H, 2 years old, bottled by a company called Single Cask Nations.
That's not the name of the company. Hold on. Actually, yes.
But yeah, what I enjoyed about your presentation was that, obviously you talked about yourself as an independent bottler, but you did a presentation of each distillery as if you were an ambassador for that distillery. And it was a completely different approach than any other bottler I had seen. As we Single Cask Nation always champion the distilleries that we work with, and we tell, this is why we work with them, this is why we bottle from them, please go and buy their own bottlings, etc., etc. But I think you took it to uh, another level, and I thought that was different and appealing and very, very cool, unexpected for sure.
It, I believe in the story, and if I'm there from beginning to end, from the process of finding them and selecting the cask and deciding why I like them,
Mm.
I think I'm one of the best persons to tell that story.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I think that in the future I want to continue. I'm not going to be able to travel to all these distilleries, but I'm going to definitely know about them and know why I like them. And one thing that I'm just realizing that I didn't tell you in the process of selecting cask is that I do trust some of my partners and some of my friends. And obviously it's a whiskey that I want to share, but also I have to sell. So you mentioned Bikram before.
Mm-hmm.
Bikram is a friend and a partner and a supporter, and he's usually one of the tasters.
Okay.
When I find samples, John and Laurie, Racing Glasses, they
Mm-hmm.
they bottle great rums and whiskies, mostly rums, and they are my distributors. And I learn a lot with them. I am very lucky to work with them, and I also trust their palate. And I usually go to tasting in Norfolk, and I'm like, I know 3-4 guys, and I'm like, who wants to try this? What do you think?
Yeah.
And I'm always open to meet new people, to visit new stores,
Mm-hmm.
to have tasters in my team that would be like, I would like to try it. So I think that's also an important process, because being a one-person company, I cannot just believe in what I like.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not sure if believing is the right word, but
No, it's I think I know what you're saying. You're tasting in a vacuum, and it's nice to know that what you think you may like, others agree. Like you
and
want that support.
I'm gonna have, let's say, from 5 people, I'm the only one loving a whiskey. I'm gonna doubt.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
if I'm not a big fan of one of the cask, but the other 4 love it, I'm
Mm.
like, maybe this time I don't have to bottle something that blew my mind if
Yeah.
it blows other people's
Yeah.
mind, because
Yeah.
everybody has a palate.
Mm.
And this is the beauty of
Mm.
whiskey, right? Uh, when I talk to you about the burnt out from broker, that I'm like, this is gonna be hard to sell. One guy in a tasting told me, I will buy that bottle, and I'm like, well, I need to sell a couple of hundred
Oh,
bottles.
yeah.
But at least I know that some people love it.
There's always a fetishist out there somewhere.
Burning tires.
Quick question,
Sure.
and then we do need to wrap it up. You had mentioned tariffs before.
Yes.
And I imagine we have some listeners out there that to be quite honest, are maybe a little confused about what these tariffs are, how they even work. Back during the first time Trump was in office, the tariffs seemed a little more straightforward. There was 25% tariffs on Scotch whiskey, and
you mean 2016? That period?
Yeah, that period. Yeah,
yes.
Correct. And I don't think that there was there were any tariffs on World Wiskies. There wasn't any tariffs on wine at that time. It was against the UK. It really had to do with this
Airbus
and right, and Boeing thing, and this is completely different now, right? Because there's just tariffs across the board, and when it comes to Scotch whiskey, it's 10%, and then each country sort of has its own tailored little tariff, whatever it may be. And you're dealing with a multitude of countries that may or may not have their own tariff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you are bottling each whiskey within that country, or if
I'm
you're
bottling
moving.
in Massachusetts.
You're bottling in Massachusetts. Aha. Oh, that's so interesting. So, okay. So you have to deal then with, if, say, Austria has X tariff
Mm-hmm.
and France has Y tariff. How do you manage this?
Well, tariffs are relatively new. When I brought the Austrian and the German, there was no tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm dealing with Europe, and Europe is being treated as a group.
Oh, just one flat tariff. And what is that tariff?
Right now is this 10% blanket across every
10%.
country.
Okay.
But this weekend, there was an announcement of a potential 30%. And as you close your eyes and touch your eyes, I was closing something else almost. And yes, I still don't know, because my whiskey was supposed to be here first last month, then mid-July, and it's still not arriving.
So, okay.
So technically, to my understanding, and the interesting part is that you talk to some custom brokers and they don't have 100% the clarity of what will happen. It changes. So let's say that when the cask arrived at US port, still at 10%, then I have to pay as a tax, that 10%. And that's going to be part of my cost. 10% extra of the price that I already pay for the cask.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, if there's a 25, if there's a 30, it's take it or leave it.
So it's not, the tariff isn't dependent on. So let's say the tariffs are active August 1, right? I'm just going to pull a date out of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
The tariffs aren't dependent on when the cask ships. It's on when the cask arrives.
It's not very clear. It's most of the time it's when it arrives.
Okay.
And I was told there are exceptions that with the right paperwork, you can prove that it was in transit.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're gonna say yes or no. And I don't know if this is depending on the broker or depending on the person that reviews the paperwork in customs, or if there's a new law that they receive, a new bulletin. It's hard to tell. So far, I mean, between countries' negotiations, my shipment is there. It's not here. So anything could happen.
Wow.
And in a small company with, that could impact the price.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, 10% is 10%, and that just adds it adds up fast.
Especially in a 3-tier system.
Exactly. Yeah, because 10% isn't just 10%.
And now imagine 30%.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm in the middle of a fight with a logistics company because this should have been here much earlier. But these are the things that I'm going to encounter, and I'm going to have to face them. That's why I thought when you say 5 years, I'm like, 5 days, Josh.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't see that far right now.
But yes, I have hope that little by little, I'm doing the right thing the right way, and as I mentioned before, I went through the first challenge successfully of finding good stuff, and now the next challenge is for people to discover me.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys are seeing or listening this, go to Instagram, follow Itinerante Cata, go to catadoritinerante.com and check the website. Subscribe to the newsletter. If you like Spanish or want to learn Spanish, buy the book. What else can I say? So yes, it's door to door.
Beauty. Well,
and it's
Pablo,
good.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining me, and it's been so cool to watch this turn from a dream, because I remember you telling me about this dream, to becoming a reality, and watching all the hard work that you've put into it and continue to put into it. And I know it will. The work is never going to be easy. It just simply won't. But I think you know that. But it's fulfilling, and it's exciting. And when you can pour whiskey into someone's glass and you see that aha moment, you see that look in their face and their eyes brighten, that's what makes it all worth it. So I'm really excited for you, and I wish you nothing but success and growth. And to that I say cheers and l'chaim and
Sloncha, salud.
Slanja. Salud.
And thank you for the support. Thank you for always being there to answer questions. And yes, beyond all the jokes that we always tell of do this, don't do this, the reality is that it's I work in many industries. I did many things from freelance to corporations, and being part of the whiskey community and the whiskey industry, it's very rewarding beyond all the little stones in the path. But the exploration keeps on happening, and I'm loving it. So I hope I can continue sharing what I'm doing and people exploring and trying new things.
Beauty. Cheers to that.
Thanks for your time.
Gracias, Pablo, por su tiempo y conversación. And for those who aren't as fluent in Spanish as I am, I was thanking Pablo for his time and conversation on the podcast.
Anybody who didn't pick up on that has got significant problems. So it was clearly up. There are Spanish speakers who don't know what you just said a second
I
ago.
know. Seriously, to our Spanish-speaking listeners and viewers, I hope that you really you're not taking offense, that you understand we are doing this all in love. We love you. We love Pablo. This is all in
You
love.
take the we out of your mouth. This is 100% on your shoulders. And I'm as much a passenger / victim as anybody else out there. So apologies to Jason, Julie, accepted.
Oh, man. You know,
and Jason and Joshua never did record another episode.
That was it. You know, I really do wish Pablo, and I'm sure you echo this. I wish Pablo all the luck. I think he's got the vision.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the right vision, and I think he's clearly got the palate, and he's got the friends alongside him to help him select these casks, which I like, right? It's not just him. He's got friends like Bikram and a few others who are helping him select casks, making sure he's not tasting in a vacuum. I just hope in these more challenging times, A, when people are buying a little less, and B, when tariffs are going up and down and left and right, and he's dealing with a number of different countries, that they don't provide stumbling blocks that are so tall.
Yep.
That they stop him, because I think he's on the right track. I think he's doing something very cool, something very different, and I'm just excited for him.
Yeah, it's always a bummer, right? And this is this is why we talk about the benefits of free trade. But it's always a shame, and you and I've had our fair share of this along the way as well. But it's when the non-whiskey things trip you up.
Yeah,
that's when it can feel like, well, why does it have to be this difficult, right? It's hard enough to get all your whiskey dominoes in a row, to then have something else come in, whether it be labeling or bottle size or tariffs or shipments and whatever it happens to be. Those are the moments that really try your patience. And we were saying this earlier, when you come in as an enthusiast and you start looking for your place in this much larger industry, that's where the passion is. That's where the excitement is.
Yeah.
But the part that really tests the passion and the enthusiasm are the non-whiskey roadblocks. So I absolutely wish him well. And I've always appreciated his support of us. And I love that he's a longtime listener of the podcast and gets his own episode because he's now involved. It makes me think of our sea bass episode, Christopher Sebastian, right?
Yep.
Where there's someone with a passion, who's looking at our example over the last 14 years and saying, maybe there's room for me in here in Blind Barrels. So, hopefully it shows we're certainly here to shine a light. And when it comes to giving advice, sometimes advice is particular to your own project, and that's been true for Seabass and Pablo. But if there's an opportunity to shine a light on people that supported us and listened along and got excited about the industry, love to have that moment when they get to come on One Nation Under Whiskey and we get to chat with them, even if I missed this particular conversation.
This is one of the things that I love about this industry, though. I think it's one of the few industries where you can sort of weasel your way into it. Just starting with the pat. I feel as if we've totally
not always used in a positive way. Weaseling your way into something, not always positive.
But I feel as if
carve out one's niche.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's better. Right back. I don't always choose the right words, but hey, here we go.
You should have said that particular line in Spanish.
But I really do appreciate this industry for that reason, that you can find your way, that there are many ways in, like Robin Robinson had said, I think season 2 of this
Yep.
podcast, that
Yep.
sometimes there's the front door, sometimes there's the back door, sometimes there's a window or the doggy door in, but there's a way in. There's space for
Yep.
everybody. And I'm so glad that Pablo is in the tent. He's in the house, and he's made it larger, and he's bringing more flavor to the table, and he's bringing more people in.
So I was just counting the metaphors you were mangling as we went through that one. Like
2.
There's a tent, but there's a door and there's windows, but he's made it larger, but he did bring flavor to the table.
He
and
did,
that
but
table is definitely in a house or tent.
Right. It's
Or
not a pie, right? It's not a pie. You just,
It's not queso. I don't know what to tell you.
What would happen if we were drinking whiskey while we were having this conversation?
This is 100% stone cold sober in the middle of an afternoon. Anyway, all right. Those are all the words that are fit to mangle.
Yeah. Yep. Indeed. I threw them all. I feel like I Yahtzeed a bunch of words at you. Oh, all right. So
I'm still thinking about tents having doors and windows. Anyway, wrap her up, Joshua. Wrap her up.
Like a yurt. Okay. All right.
Now we're on to yogurt? No yogurt.
So listeners, viewers, thank you as always for tuning in. If you are a listener and you want to check out these videos, whether it's the podcast like this one, or our extra episodes, or our tasting videos, and you are not subscribed already, please check out our YouTube channel. And you can subscribe to us. You could tick the little bell on our videos so you're reminded of a new video. And what else can you do? You can send us emails, info@singlecasknation.com. That would be really great. What else can you do? No, I guess that's all you can do. Well, I would like to say thank you again to, Jason, thank you so much. Look at you throwing banners up. Ooh, using fingers. I love that.
Take them away. I can take them away as easily as I can. Bring them back. Sorry. Hands are where you can see them.
There you go. And seriously, sincere thanks to Pablo Goldbarg for joining us in this conversation. It was really lovely to sit down, talk about your brand, talk about your whiskeys, to drink along with you, and to to have you drink some of our M&H during the conversation too. That was, I'm glad you brought that bottle out too, Pablo. That was awesome. And Jason, it's always good just to sit down, even if it's for a little bit, to get a little chuckle, throw a little Van Hagar at you.
The man who can or cannot drive 55. I forget from earlier.
He cannot do it.
Can he do it? Okay. It's not going to work.
All right.
Everybody.
Until next time.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Domo arigato, Mr. Robato.
Bienvenue. Auf Wiedersehen.
Dos por años.